Welcome to the Awareness to Attain podcast, where we help mature men get through life's issues and start living the life that they truly want to live. I am your host, Chris Baus, professional life coach and motivational speaker, and we will always have a topic that is very vulnerable and very true to what men deal with on a daily basis. I hope you get a ton of value out of everything you hear, and here we go. Welcome to episode 1. I'm your host, Chris Baus, professional life coach and motivational speaker, and I wanted to spend this first episode on letting you guys the opportunity to get to know me on a personal basis and see exactly who I am, how I changed my life, and the steps that I took to accomplish that. And the only way to do that is giving you an inside look on how far I have come. I will let you know that my childhood wasn't full of trauma. My mom was a very religious person. My dad was agnostic, and he was a workaholic and an alcoholic, but there was no abuse. There was no craziness involved, but there was something that boiled on me from the very beginning of my life, and it was that I didn't feel like I fit in. I always felt like I was an outcast. And because of those feelings, I struggled making friends and building relationships, and I struggled even more coping with the fact that I couldn't build those relationships. I found out very young that I could sing. My mom supported that and got me involved in singing in church, and I realized that when I was on stage, I was instantly accepted and everybody liked me. So that fed more and more, and the ego grew to the fact that by the time I was in high school, I started a rock and roll band, and I thought I truly started being accepted by everyone around me. What I didn't realize at the time was that they only accepted my voice. They didn't truly accept me. And so because being in the rock and roll side of things, I'm sure you guys are a lot aware there's a lot of drugs and alcohol that are involved in that environment. And I fell, I succumbed to that. And it grew worse and worse. The band got signed when I was 19 years old, and we actually started traveling and making something of ourselves. But the drug addiction and the alcohol addiction came to the point to where it completely destroyed everything that we were trying to do. And after all of that was over, I had created such an opiate addiction that I could barely function. So I came back to real life, got involved in construction management, and for 10 years, I tried to function, but heavily addicted to opiates, and it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. By the time I was 42, I completely lost it. I was drinking so much that my health was declining. And it got to the point to where I was literally in a coma from pancreatitis. And at that point, when I got out of the coma, I realized that I had a problem and I was going to die if I didn't stop, but I still couldn't get sober. I kept drinking, kept using, to the point that I literally got thrown out by my wife, lost custody of my children, and culminated it all with a failed suicide attempt. And within that failed suicide attempt, I realized that I couldn't even kill myself right. And when I realized that I couldn't even end it all, and I couldn't get out of the pain that I was in, I started to hate God. I started to resent him because I just couldn't get the relief that I wanted alive, and I couldn't die either. And I was totally at a loss for what to do, and I didn't know what step to take next. I took the advice of a friend and I checked into a rehab. And I spent 6 months in that rehab. And the first 3 months, I think I was doing it for everybody else, just trying to show them that I could change. But 3 months into it, something crazy happened. I met a guy that became my mentor. And he told me this crazy thing. He said the drugs and the alcohol are not your problem. They're your solution. And what he told me was is that I hated myself so much that until I learned how to rip away all that baggage and figure out a way to love myself, I was never going to be able to heal and never going to be able to become a different person. So I started on this journey of figuring out exactly why I hated myself and what I could do to actually look in the mirror and like what I saw. And I want to tell you, it was a journey full of crying and sweating and trial and error and all these other things. But at the end of the day, I finally started to carve out this daily routine that allowed me to start feel better about myself. And once I continued that routine, which consisted of meditation and exercise and mirror talks and tons of other things, positive affirmation, mindset books, I went through all this trial and error to figure out what worked for me. Because that's one thing that I realized is that what works for me is not going to work for everyone. And what works for somebody else isn't going to work for me. I had to carve out my own way. And I had to figure out a way to simplify this thing enough to make it doable on a daily basis so I could finally start to heal. And once I finally started healing, I realized it wasn't so difficult. See, I had this people pleasing thing where I thought that if I just made everybody else happy and I made everybody else like me, that somehow I would stop hating myself. And what I didn't realize is if even someone did like me, I couldn't accept their love. I couldn't receive their love because I needed to learn how to love myself first. I was married to the most incredible woman for a long time and thought I loved her and thought that she loved me, but it was impossible for that to culminate because I couldn't receive her love. I dug in so deep and I got rid of all the demons and I realized one thing that I never did that I needed to start doing to live a better life, and that was become accountable. You see, I always blamed everybody else for everything that happened around me. And if I could just make more money, I'd be happy. If I could just get someone else to do this, I would be happy. And every time my world fell apart, I blamed somebody or something else. When I sat back and I really took a long look at everything and realized that everything that happened to me in my life, I played a significant part in, I instantly started to get better. You see, it's not about blaming others. It's not about finding fault. It's not about proving that you're right. This life is about being happy. And the only way to be happy is to wake up every morning and do whatever it takes to put yourself into a positive mindset so you can walk out of the front door in the morning feeling like you belong, feeling like you can succeed, feeling like you have a purpose and that there is a goal that you are trying to reach. The reason that my business is named what it is because of a quote that hit me so hard right in the face, I couldn't forget it. And the quote is, in order to obtain any goal, you must first fully be aware of the proper steps. And when I analyzed that and I thought about it for days and days and days, that's exactly what I had done all my life. I had never known what the proper steps were to be a better person, to be a successful person. I always did everything on the fly. I never wanted to organize. I never wanted to do anything that it took to become who I wanted to be. I just wanted it to happen. I just wanted everybody to do things for me. I just wanted somehow for God to wave this magic wand and make me who I wanted to be. Well, I'm here to tell you there's only one person that is stopping you from being the person that you want to be, and that's you. And the only way you can stop stopping yourself is by being willing to look very hard inside and find your faults and let go of those things and start doing the work that it takes to become the person that you want to be. It is the most simplest thing I've ever done in my life, but it is also the most difficult thing I've ever done in my life. And what I mean by simple is there's literally probably 5 things that I have to do on a daily basis to maintain the person that I am today. But if I don't do those 5 things, I have a horrible day. And eventually, if I continue to not do those 5 things, my life will start to fall apart. If you continue to listen to this podcast, you will hear the 5 things that I will do. You will get so much information on what you need to do to become a better person. I will always do a Q&A in the comments. I have multiple platforms that you can get a hold of me. All those links will be in the description. My goal in all of this is to show you guys exactly what I did and make myself accessible to help you do the same thing. I realized that this was just a brief look into who I am, and I will continue to show you who I am in every episode. I will also have life coaches. I will have ex-clients of mine. I will have friends in recovery. I will have multiple people who will join me on these podcasts to help share their testimony and also give you some insight on what exactly needs to be done to get over the obstacles that you are dealing with. If you get anything out of any one of my episodes, please let it be that I'm available and I am here to help you. I need everyone on this planet to know that you're not alone. Men especially feel like we are all alone and nobody cares. I got news for you. I care. Other people care. There are people out there that are willing to help you. You just have to be vulnerable enough to reach out for the help. You see, we have this problem. We don't have a problem asking for help from a personal trainer or asking for a loan from the bank so that we can buy a house or asking a friend to help us move. But we have this crazy thing where we think that the most complicated thing that we deal with on a daily basis, and that is life, that we're on some island and we have to figure it out all by ourselves. That is so far from the truth. And as soon as I realized that I could depend on some other people to help me figure out what I couldn't figure out on my own, my life instantly started to get better. Was it better all the way? No. Did I have to do a lot of work to become the person that I am now? Yes. I'm not going to, blow smoke and tell you that there's some kind of easy way to do all this. But it's not as hard as you think. It's not as complicated as you think. It takes some effort, and it takes a willingness to be vulnerable enough to allow somebody else inside. If you feel that you can do that, then reach out to me or reach out to someone else and start the journey. Please stay tuned for multiple episodes. I will do these as much as I can because all I want is to get the message out there. As always, I love you all and God bless. Once again, thank you for joining the Awareness to Obtain podcast, where we are building a community that is safe for men to discuss issues and find the help that they need. You can find all of my personal links in the description. Please do not hesitate to reach out with me. I want to help as many men as possible live the life that they truly want to live. And as always, thank you and God bless.